All right, welcome to the weekend video, and we're back. It's Enda here, bullwaves.org. There's the website. Go and check it out if you like what I do, and you want nightly Elliott wave analysis of the major markets. Then get onto bullwaves.org and become a member. Okay, let's move on. This has been an intro. I think I always say that, but this has been an interesting week. We've had some things come to fruition, and we've had some interesting turns, and I think pretty much on target, I would say, in general. Okay, I'm going to start with the dollar crosses and then move on from there. So here we have your dollar 4 hour. We're looking at 5-wave decline in wave C. Last week, we were looking at the possibility of a 4th wave turning into a 5th wave. This week, we got a spike to a new high in the 4th wave and then a reversal impulsively into the 5th wave. So still on target here for a new low, I think, in wave 5 of C. And then that should complete wave 2, and then we should look for a reversal higher again. Here's the 4th wave scenario that we were working with this week. It's actually a standard 5-wave pattern in wave C, even though there is overlap in there, but it's overlap in terms of a expanded flattened wave 2 and actually probably some sort of a running flat wave. Excuse me. Or gosh, sorry, complex flat in wave 4. So we do have 5 waves up in wave C. Reverse punched out above the upper trend line, reverse quite impulsively lower again. So we've been looking for a 1-2 pattern off that again, and we're moving towards it. Not quite there yet, I don't think, in wave 2, but then I think early next week we should turn down into wave 3. Again, I'm looking down around 103, 102 area to complete this, close out the trend channel, complete wave C. And that will be a good time, I think, to turn against the dollar for the short term anyway. Okay, here's a cable. It looks like we are completing wave 1 again. It's a different stage in the pattern, but it's a similar scenario. Here we've got 5 waves down into wave 1, and we're looking at a rally in wave 2 coming up. In euro dollar, we've got 5 waves down in wave C and looking at a rally in wave 3 up. So we'll see how that plays out over time, but for the moment, it looks like we're still heading lower into wave 5 of 1. And here is wave 4. And this is the pattern here, beginning wave 5 down. So we've got wave 1 and 2 done. We've got wave 1 and 2 underway. So I think wave 2 should pink. That would be wave 2 of 3. That should close out today and then reverse lower into wave 3 of 3 on Monday. So we're looking at 3rd wave decline early next week to finish this pattern, I think, by the end of next week in wave 5. And as always, we follow it every night. So if you like this sort of analysis, you should probably get over to the website. Okay, here is dollar yen. Overall, looking at a 3rd wave top turning down into a 4th wave. And you can see how this is the flip side of, let's say, the Atlantic crosses, where pound dollar would be looking at a 2nd wave rally, euro dollar would be looking at a 3rd wave rally, and dollar yen then will be looking at a 4th wave decline. So they eventually, I think, they will move against each other and move against the dollar, basically. But for the moment, we're still kind of punching to a new high in, I think it's a B wave, but excuse me, I think it's a B wave, but we're probably going to move lower, I think, into a C wave next week. So there's the wave 3 top. Initially, that real long-legged step down in wave A. That was what, 4th of October now, or 3rd of October. What was that? Yeah, 3rd of October. That got fully retraced this week, but it's a real choppy rally. I'm looking at it as a B wave, a break to a new top in a B wave. And that would mean that wave C should break below that previous wave A low again. So looking for 5 waves down in wave C of A next week. I know it's been postponed so far, but we've dragged to a new high with kicking and screaming basically. I'm looking at that as a kind of a wedge, ending diagonal pattern. So wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we've reversed off that top. We've reversed off that top so far inconclusively, but we should know pretty soon whether this is a reversal down into wave 1. I think we'll get there next week. This is just the pattern is a little bit messy at the moment. We'll figure it out. Okay, here's the Dow. Last week we were looking for a continuation lower into wave 5 of 3, and this week we got it. So the ideal low for wave 3 is what I've been pointing to, over and over and over and over and over and over again. You're probably bored of me. I mean, if you're following the nightly updates, you're probably bored of me saying it now. But that was around 32,400. On this chart, it's 32,390. So call it 32,400, and that's where wave 3 in blue reaches 162% of wave 1 in blue. So that's a solid Fibonacci extension in wave 3. Trading lower this morning. This week we have reached a new low below that previous low. So we're in the ballpark for a complete pattern here. We've got that fourth wave rally. Nobody believed it was a fourth wave rally. Everybody thought this is, a push out to a new high. Here we go, FOMO back in action. But no, we were looking down again this week, and we did go down again this week. And we've retraced that previous rally completely. This is the 32,400 target area. And that would, well, like I said yesterday, we actually broke to a new low. So that does qualify as wave 5. But I'm kind of still holding out hope that we actually fall into that kind of ideal target area for a third wave to complete. So that's the outlook for the next couple of days. Well, for today anyway, that's the outlook. We'll see if we reach that level. It would be even better if we actually close out the trend channel somewhere down around, call it 31,900, 31 or 32,000 even. If we closed out that trend channel, that would be pretty awesome to complete wave 3. And then we'd look higher in wave 4. I think either way, we're probably going to look higher into wave 4 next week. Back around, 33,000, 34,000 area. Wave 4 should not break the wave 1 low, so that comes in at about 34,000 even. So I would like to see it complete, wave 4 to complete somewhere around 33,500 maybe. Depending on the pattern, I mean, it could be a triangle, so, we could range to the downside again. Yeah, get rid of that. We could range in a fourth wave with a kind of a sideways bias in wave 4 if it's a triangle. And if that's the case, then we might hang around the 33,000 level. All shall be revealed. There's no way of really knowing at the moment. It's just excuse me. We got to wait for the pattern to start developing to see. And the problem with triangles is you don't really know until you start getting towards the latter stages of the triangle, until you can really nail that down. So sideways to nowhere, hopefully next week will be the main theme of the action. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, gold. Let's move on. We've got that wave 1 top in place. We're looking for a significant decline in wave 2. Hopefully, I'm holding out hope that we get down towards 1850 again, maybe 1860 to complete wave 2. We'll see how it goes. So far, we're pretty much just hanging at the top. We've come down in 3 waves. We've rallied in 3 waves. Maybe it's a 335 initial decline in wave A. We'll see how it goes. Can't really draw a whole lot from the action this week. It is corrective, but at what degree and within what wave is still, up in the air. even moving into next week, I would like to see wave 2 take over, more substantially, or more, let's say, with a more sustained decline. And again, 1860, somewhere down around there, would be ideal to complete this pattern. Okay, let's move on. Crude oil came down pretty hard this week. It's interesting how a war in the Middle East developing again, everyone at each other's necks over there again. You'd think that would add to, let's say, an upward trajectory on price, in crude oil price. Turns out no. We had in this rally throughout the last 6 months, we had this, peace talks. Even Iran and Saudi Arabia opened embassies in each other's countries again. More peace talks, and then peace talks means rallying crude oil. War means declining crude oil. I hate war, but sometimes it has to be done. So here we are. We've moved down impulsively this week. It's just, it's just a position. I'm not trying to make any sort of, not trying to make any connection other than, let's say, I suppose the main point would be the psychology behind war is a negative social mood, which drives prices down. Positive social mood tends to drive prices up. Peace talks are part of positive social mood driving prices up. War is part of negative social mood driving prices down. I mean, it's when you look at it from that perspective, it makes sense. Basically, it's a putrid, horrid sense, but it does actually make sense. So here we have a 1-2 pattern to the downside. We completed that second wave, lower high, just below $90 back the 20th, so about a week ago. So actually, we're probably up here trading up around the $90 level when we spoke last, and we've turned down impulsively this week. That's what we were looking for, in a 1-2 rally to the downside, or 1-2 decline, impulsive decline to the downside. We've got the wave 1 down in 5 waves. We're looking up in wave 2. Kind of, I was pointing at a break of 85.40, wave A high, over the last couple of days, and that seems to be where we're heading. The 50% retracement of wave 1 comes in at about 85.80, so between 85.80 and 86.70, that'd be kind of ballpark area for wave 2 to complete. We don't want to see a new high, but we'll deal with that if it comes. But anyway, it looks like we've got a 1-2 pattern to begin wave 3. If this pattern is correct, then wave 3 of 3 down should come next week, and maybe we break below $80 again next week. So we'll track it. We'll see how it goes. We have got a solid pattern for the moment anyway, in wave 1 and 2. So we'll see what comes next. All right, the S&P made a more sustained, or a more, let's say, vigorous attempt at hitting that Fibonacci target for wave 3. So yesterday's low came in around 41.28, 41.30, something like that. The ideal low is 4100. So we're close enough for a country job kind of thing. We have got 5 waves down. We've got a new low in wave 3. I was mentioning this last night that we're as close as we could get probably to point out, or to make a guesstimation. Let's say that we're closing out in wave 3 now. You can see that sustained decline. We broke, the Dow basically just managed a pip below the previous wave 3 low, whereas the S&P has managed a good solid, furlong, or a good solid, break of that previous wave 3 low. I was trying to find a horse racing analogy there in my mind. I couldn't. I'm not a horse racing person. Anyway, forgive the blanks now and again. Uh, we have got 5 waves down in wave 5 in pink. We've got 5 waves down overall in wave 5 and 3. In wave 3, 5, sorry, in wave 3 blue, we've got 5 waves overall. Even in here within wave 5 black, we're pretty, I can pick out a 5 wave pattern there. You know, we're closed out almost, excuse me. I still have a niggling kind of chesty kind of cough or flu-y thing this week, so you forgive me. We've got an internal 5 waves more or less in wave 5 in black. We've got a trend channel that's almost closed out. We've got a Fibonacci extended 162% extension target almost hit. So we're in the ballpark of completing this third wave. So I think we should head higher in wave 4 next week. And just like the Dow, I would prefer it to, if it was a triangle, I would prefer that. So we would just kind of drift along, that 4200 level, oscillate around that 4200 level to complete wave 4. That would be pretty good. It wouldn't upset any of the requirements. We'd stay well clear of the previous wave 1 low. The market would be basically dead going sideways, and it would open up that possibility to spill down lower again in wave 5. So whatever form wave 4 takes, I am either looking sideways in a triangle or looking up in a flat or a zigzag. Now, the wave 1 low comes in at around 43.30, 43.35. I would like to see 43.30 to hold. Wave 4 to hold below 43.30. So, once this market starts moving higher again, it's going to start getting into, dangerous territory for this wave count. The closer it gets to 4,300 again. So we'll see how it goes. I have said all along that the lower it goes in wave 3, the better for overall for this pattern. So I'll stick to that idea for next week also. Okay, silver. We came off the highs this week. I don't think we're done yet. I think we've probably got wave A of wave 2 done. You can see here, there's wave 1 and wave 2. We've got wave A down. Well, maybe we've got wave B done as well. Looking for 5 waves down and wave C. And again, I've been looking between 2218 and 2180, between 50 and 61%. Forgive me, 50 and 61% retracement levels of wave 1. Once we're down on there again, I'm going to start looking for a low and a turn higher into wave 3 up. But overall, the larger pattern in wave 3 should, towards the end of the year, we should be blasting out new highs, I think, in silver. All depends on whether this pattern is correct or not. I mean, we could get a breaking pattern to the downside as well. So it's a case of just following it and seeing how it develops. But for the moment, we've got a solid low, I think, in wave 2, and we should be heading higher into wave 3 over the coming months. Wave 3 up will be a substantial opportunity once wave 2 completes. So we'd look for a completed pattern in wave 2 over the next few days, into the middle of next week, probably ideally somewhere down around $22, and then look higher again. Okay, I think that is it. Oh, I'm actually going to go and dive into Bitcoin for a second. Daily chart. I changed my count in Bitcoin this week. This long sideways move, I was looking at this as a possible fourth wave, and then we were moving down into wave 5 of C again. Change tack this week. We got a solid rally. I'll admit I was not expecting that, but that solid rally does fit within another bearish pattern. So do not be surprised to see new lows coming in Bitcoin towards the end of this year in a C wave decline. We're looking at 5 waves down in wave A, 3 up in wave B now, and we're already, knocking on the door of the 38% retracement level. So that comes in around 36,000. So Excuse me. I think we'll close out a B wave and we'll turn down into wave C. That'll be wave C of B, and that wave C will be a sustained decline. I pretty much write off that, for such a thin market to explode higher like that, that just looks like a big fat finger to me. And with the amount of shenanigans that goes on in the Bitcoin kind of realm, I wouldn't be surprised if that was like, a real, I'm going to say suspect actor there. Okay, I don't need to say any more about that. But anyway, I think this will be a C wave rally. I think it'll complete a B wave, and I think we'll turn lower down into wave C again. Need I say any more about that? Probably not. Go to the NASDAQ and see for a second. We've extended lower in the NASDAQ, which should really start ringing bells for any bulls, because the NASDAQ is the concentration of the forces that drove the rally. Excuse me. Let me get a drink here. The NASDAQ is the tech heavy. The NASDAQ is the bull heavy index. And if we break down here, you could see if this is a third wave down and we break down here, we could easily see a break of wave 1 about 10,400 pretty quickly. And that's a long way down. That's another 3,800 points or something down, and that could happen in quick succession if this is a third wave down. So I would watch out for that developing in the NASDAQ. Apart from that, let's see. What do I have for you this week? This I have for you. I usually end, these sessions, these weekly videos with the good news of the Messiah. I'm going to take a little bit of a different stance. I usually have no idea what I'm going to say, but then this kind of came to me. This came to me just before I started recording. I'm going to kind of run with it and see where it goes. Lord, maybe you can guide this. This is the ancient Israelites, the Jewish offering for sin. And we as followers of the Messiah, we know that, he was offered once and for all for the sins of many, or for the sins of everyone. Whoever accepts this sin offering was made on the cross in Calvary. So he offered himself as high priest and king for all, because he was God. And we all know that, in the Hebrew scriptures, God describes himself as the first and the last. He is the first and the last. In terms of the Hebrew alphabet, which is so intricately woven into the scriptures, the first and the last is the Aleph and the Tav. The Aleph, that's where we get our A from. We get our A sound from the Aleph. Just twist that upside down, you get the A, capital A. That's the Aleph. It even makes the A sound. Tav is a T. It's a cross. You know that the T is a cross as well when you look at it. With the sin offering, the priest made a sin offering of a bull. And it was also the sin offering for the entire community. So that sin offering was the first offering made. I think it was the fall feast. It was made on the bronze altar, and it was an offering for the priest or for the entire community, the entire sons of Israel, let's say. So the bull was offered as a sacrifice for the entire community, the sins of the entire community. And we know, as followers of the Messiah, and that was basically a picture of the Messiah. And we know, as followers of the Messiah, that Messiah was actually God himself as well. It was God offering himself on the cross, who, a human life is worth a human life, an eye for an eye, a life for a life. So even if you were the perfect sinless human, you could only atone for the sins of one other person or yourself. If you were to offer yourself as a human to pay for the sins of another human, a sinless human could wipe out the sins of one person. Who could wipe out the sins of all humanity? Only God. And that's where the bull comes in. If we go to the Hebrew alphabet, the Aleph is actually a bull head. You can see the head of the bull there, the two horns and the ears. That's the bull head. And its meaning is, it's a pictographic language, so the meaning of that pictogram is an ox or a bull. And a gentle or tame, the leader. Strength. A bull is strength. A bull is the leader. The bull is first. In your herd, the bull is the first. Adonai is the Lord. God is first. 1,000 and to teach as well. There's the meaning of 1,000 and to teach. So the bull is the meaning of has the meaning connotation of Adonai, or the first. So God said he's the first and the last. He is the Aleph and the Tav. He is the bull. He is the strength. He is the leader. And we go to the Tav. If God is the first and the last, the Aleph and the Tav, he's in here in the Tav as well. The Tav is the mark or the sign. It's an X. It's a cross. It's ownership. And it's a covenant. So that new covenant in the blood of the ox, of God, the Aleph and the Tav, God on the cross, the bull offering on the cross, Adonai on the cross. It's in the Hebrew scriptures. It's right there. God himself, he is the first and the last. He is the Aleph on the cross. He is the bull offering, sin offering on the cross. And that was that. That's all I had. If you are interested in eternal life and your sins being paid for, all you have to do for that sin offering to apply to you, to cover your sins, that Adonai on the cross, the Lord on the cross, is to admit that you're a sinner and believe that Jesus is God's Son and he died on the cross for you and he rose up from the grave on the third day. And then you walk from death into life. You walk from the covering of Adam, headship of Adam, to the headship of Messiah. And that's it. Go and read Romans 3 or John 1 or Romans 10 and you'll see. Apart from that, see you tonight. Nightly offering, as I said, nightly update. It is my nightly offering to you. And we'll see what the action brings today. And if I'm alive next week, I'll be here on YouTube land. God bless. See you then.